What's up, guys? It's Sunday, November 19th. Not going to be a lot going on this week because of Thanksgiving. Um, let's take a look at the calendar for this week. We got some news in the morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. Tuesday, we got some home sales, so we might look at VNQ stocks again and see what they're up to. Fed minutes as well at 2 o'clock. That's going to be the most of the liquidity, so look for a move there around 2 o'clock on Tuesday, and then Wednesday before open. I'm not quite feeling up to my normal self this week, so forgive me. But and then we do have some PMI on Friday morning. We'll have a half day on Friday. The market's open until noon, or I think 1 o'clock Eastern. I'm in Central Time, so anyway, want to run across a couple things. First of all, I had an alert just go off on Bitcoin. Let's see what that one's doing this morning or this evening. So if you zoom out here, we're on the 4-hour chart. We can go to the daily chart. Let's look at some levels here. So we've been consolidating. We've been coming up to this and consolidating here. It looks like we could easily break this and run to 42,000. So keep Bitcoin stocks on your chart for this week. Let's see. So yeah, 42,000. We've had a line there for a long time. These lines are from back here. Now, if you look at this, we ran from 28,000 to 47, and then right here, this 28,000 to at least 47, if not higher. Same thing with this one, if not higher. I'm kind of being conservative here. They came up. If you want to see how the market works here, so you have levels of support and resistance, right? Obviously. There are some things to know about these, because if you run up into resistance quickly, then you can get rejected. If you come up short of resistance, then next time they go to try it, they're likely going to break through it, because they trick everybody into selling early so that when they get back up there the next time, they can break it. And then likely the shorts, when they are short here, they're going to take their stop and get out at break even when it comes back to that area. So that's why it becomes support, and then shorts get squeezed and buyers come back in for more. So let's take a look at this move from 29,000 up to 47, and let's see if that's possible here. For one, let's put a new line at this pivot right here. And see, it's not exactly the pivot, it's where it got rejected is what's important. See how, like, this area is kind of a flat top almost, and every time they got over it, this area, they sold off. They got up and pushed back down, got up, pushed back down. They got back up and pushed down, and then finally they sold off. So let's take the last candle. The high of this last candle was 47,201, so 47,200. This works on all stocks, not just Bitcoin. So 47,200 is going to be a target long. And then what happens is when they come back to it, so they came up to it and they rejected once, and then instead of like coming back and trying to test it again, they had an equal opposite move down. Let's see if this is true. I haven't done this yet. So from 47 to our 37, let's say, that would be a 100% move, because this here, 37 to 47, so 47 to 37, that's one move. And then let's just see if they made an equal opposite move here to another level. Let's take this down here. You see the one, put it at 37, and let's see where the bottom is. So yeah, they made more than a 100% move, probably a 1.618 move. So anyway, that was just a little tidbit of information that if they fail, they can have an equal opposite moves. I like playing those because the same amount of energy is still in the stock. So let's take a look at Bitcoin and see if we can learn anything. So we had where were we trying to go? 29. So let's make another box here and see 29 up to 47. Let's take this and see if there was any support at 29 that might help us run up to 47. Kinda not really. Like you could see where these buyers held this 29 area. But then when they came back up to it, they just kind of kept going. They didn't really retest that area. So it's possible that we could have a triple top here, and we could play Bitcoin stocks short first. Because see, if we would have consolidated here, if we would have came up to it, and instead of just broke right through it, if we would have came up to it and consolidated for a while and then came down, then we could just run straight to 47. But those buyers kind of got left at the altar, if you will, like they just got gapped over, and the big buyer came in here at 30,000. So it's possible we don't get that move. Let's look for a fake out like this, and then a retest of 29,500 area, and that would be your place to go long. So keep that in mind. Obviously, if we get above this and just keep going, if they get to 42, then they might just want to continue to 47. So obviously we can't just hold short positions. But let's take a look at, so if in my mind I'm thinking actually this is going to be a failed breakout. I'm thinking this is going to be a failed breakout. So let's look at coin. Let's see, I've got some levels on here and say where would we want to short if if this was true. Right now we have a pretty nice reversal from level, or not level 4, stage 4 move down, stage 1 consolidation, stage 2 move higher. So we had this trend line, we broke out, we didn't even come back to retest it. So we are in a bullish trend in Coinbase, COIN, but I would kind of like to retest this 51 area. That's not going to happen this week, but we have a very similar thing here. Let's make some lines. So I go on my 4-hour chart. So here's what I do. I'm going to show you two things. So you go to your 4-hour chart, you figure out where did they get rejected so that the market reversed. So obviously this candle right here. So we're going to put a line. Where was this open? 109.94. That's probably close enough to just say 110. But let's look over here and say, what's the high of this candle? 110.50. So, and then same thing with this candle. High is 110.34. So there's not real consistency on exactly what price, but basically just know at over 110, they tend to get rejected. So let's just put a line, and this won't be exact, but we'll just say from 110 to 110.50 is going to be an area of resistance. So let's go over here and see how far away we are. So we've got Down here we're at 98 right now. So we could get a nice move up on Monday. I bet we're over 110 on Monday. If we're not over 110, look for a short position. Even if we are, then you'll want to short when we get back to 110 for a failed breakout. So just watch 110. Again, that's not exact. Let's see if there's other numbers that are more important. This area right here actually looks more important. See how it was rejected right here on this green candle? It was rejected there, rejected there, rejected there. It got over it here, so it was able to go higher, but even this candle here was pretty close to being rejected, and then bam, this candle right here, this confirms it. So let's take 110 off the board. And actually, the open of this candle is 106.28. This one, the close was 106.41. Open was 106.34. And this one, 106.21. So we'll just stick with this red candle here. See this right here? This is actually more important than this, because this was, what happened was, this wasn't resistance. This was just a seller, and when they got down to here, this was the actual level. So let's put this one at 106.28, 106.25. Looks like it could be, let's do 106.25. So here we go. So everybody's going to be waiting for 110. Actually, we've got an advantage here. If we get up to 106.25, look for a rejection. If we get above 106.25, look for a retest. If it becomes support, then I'm wrong and we're bullish. But if we break 106.25, just like this guy did here, see how this was a failed breakout? We held this resistance, we got above it, and then we came back down and it didn't hold that time, and it fell. So this is the more important one, 106.25. So keep that, put a line on your chart, 106.25. Your target for 106.25, let's see if this is important back here. Let's see. So we had a move from, sorry, I got so much going on here. This candle right here, this gap down. So 106.25 down to 51. Really, you could argue this candle was a rejection, and they got down to 62. This one got down to 72. So that's interesting. So we got like basically 52, 62, 72. So the seller's definitely getting weaker. So let's shoot for 82. 106.25 by 82. And I bet you that lines up with a moving average. Oh yeah, look. Look at this. You see this is a 50-day moving average? Watch for a retest of this 50-day moving average, and then it can go long. But let's play shorts on coin down to 82. It would be probably to fill this gap, to be honest. This gap is at high of this candle is 79.41. So you could get some 90 puts and write it down to 80 or 82 to be safe. Anyway, so let's do that. MSTR, I've been trying to play this one, but we're right at our resistance. See how we had a large move down from here all the way down to here. So that's why I'm saying I think this is going to be a failed breakout. I don't think Bitcoin's bullish quite. I mean, it's bullish, but it's not going to punch new highs. See how this one though, they came up short, so they were able to get above it. So it just depends if they're able to keep above that. MSTR should go at least fill this gap and hit this moving average. So 380. That's a 100-point move from 480 to 380. So watch MSTR short. A lot of people are bullish right now. So, you know, if we squeeze up to this area, see how that's kind of resistance. If we can get, that might be a 200-point move, like 575 area. If we squeeze up here on Monday into this area, get puts, and ride it back down to 390, that would be a huge move. Okay, so that's what I got on that. So going back to coin for a second. So I said the 4-hour chart is how we come up with our numbers. We saw that this area was rejected multiple times at 106.25 area, right? 106.30. This one probably won't be exact because it's got a large spread, so it's not like SPY, which can turn on a penny. Coin's kind of got just an area. Anyway, watch coin short, but here's what I want to talk about is how you can tell what direction a stock is going to move. And this might be kind of hard to understand and see. Let's use natural gas instead. This is a little easier to see. So in this box right here, there's a box, right? You look at the big wick, the big candles, and you figure out, is the price action at the top of the big candles, or is it pushing to the bottom of the big candles? That sounds so elementary, but seriously, we'll go through a couple examples, and it's not just a box, but in a move, if you want to tell what move it's going to make next, you want to look at this and say, okay, so here's some big candles, right? And then here's a big candle. So where did it spend its time between this candle and this candle? Well, it spent its time in the top half of this, right? Now it's already in a bear trend, so this is not quite good, but you can see why we had a big rip right here on this candle. Because you had buyers in the top half of this thing, of this square. You see what I'm talking about? So we had two big candles here, a big candle there, and they spent time in the top half. So the expectation is there was a move higher coming. Same thing over here though. Actually, just here. So they got their move higher. Now, between the big candle and the big candle, it's spending time in the bottom half, right? So you're expecting that not to hold and move lower. Move over to the next 4-hour area here, if I can get my box to move. And you see that of this big candle, they're spending their time in the bottom of it. So it's going to go lower, right? In the bottom half of this little box area. I know this sounds stupid and simple, but when you're in a down move, for example, you want to catch a squeeze, you can pick out, okay, here's a large candle. It was spending most of its time in the bottom half, so it's probably going to go lower. Go to the next big candle. okay, it's in the top half. So it's not in the top half. The top half would be up here. It's kind of in the middle. But you're saying, okay, it's not as weak as it was up here, right? You get down to this one. It's not as weak as it was. If it was weak, it would be down here. These candles would be down here. It's not as weak. So we got a reversal and move higher. Let me look at US 500. So here's where I made a mistake. Why I wasn't bullish at this, I don't know. But if you want to take, let me take, okay, so let's take this candle right here. The price action is at the top half of this big candle. So it's likely going to move higher. You can't be in puts, right? Zoom in. I know I'm fumbling over my words, but this is actually important. So you had a large candle compared to the other ones here. So we were expecting kind of a push higher. But then if you zoom out, and look at let me back up. The purpose of this is because I made a mistake. I was bearish right here. I was bearish because I thought we had a triple top, and on CPI we were gonna get rejected because we had a triple top. However, we weren't bearish because we were in the top half of this move, and I should have known that the next move was going to be a move up. So part of this lesson is to just say, don't be overly biased just because you think we're too high, because look at this. Right? We're in the top half and we're running. We actually put in a higher high already. That was the top half of the candle, and they're already like squeezing above it. That means there's some extreme upward pressure going on up here. So you can't be bearish yet. You can't be bearish until you see a large move down. Like, look at this. Okay. Here was a large move down. This red candle. This red candle right here. And what did they do? They didn't chop down here. They just shot right back up. Right? Now we're starting to get a little bit of a move of indecision. Remember in the other example? So we had a large move down, and now we're getting a little weaker. We're not up here at the top. We're getting a little weaker. But that doesn't mean to short it. That means look for another move higher. I don't know what that was. Because in this larger move, we're still extremely bullish. So buy every dip, basically, is what it's telling you. It's saying, yeah, it's getting weaker, but it's not ready to just reverse out of nowhere yet. You want to look for something like a big fake out before you start getting overly bearish. Because see, this one was bullish right here for another move higher, but then the next move, this big red candle, that was starting to turn bearish, and they still pushed up even higher because in the overall trend they're still bullish. So you can't miss the moves up. And then then you move over to this candle and say, okay, what did they do? They actually broke below it. They were so weak they broke below it, and they climbed up only about half, not even 50%. So that's pretty bearish, and then you can go bearish. but we're not there yet in our most recent rip. So anybody that's saying it's just going to reverse overnight, I mean, we've got this candle right here. If we were bearish, the market wouldn't have reversed like this and been in the middle. It would be down like this. Right? Does that make sense? Okay. Same thing. And let's do not just rectangles, but let's look at this move right here. Let me find a this big green candle. What half of this channel did the stock spend most of its time in? The top half. That's bullish of this green candle right here. Right? See what I'm talking about? This green candle right here. Of this green candle, it spent the majority of its time in the top half of this channel. It just so happens that that makes a channel, but, you know, I missed that. And that was my fault. But we had this channel going, and I didn't realize they're pushing up through the channel into this triple top here. Because here's what it looked like on like a 15-minute chart. You don't zoom out and look at the 4-hour charts enough, and here you think, oh my gosh, we're so high. Like, we just had this huge rip with no pullback. There was no pullback here, no dips down or anything. And then you had this huge break of the 50 here, and everybody's like, okay, we're bearish again. But then they get back up into this top half of the channel. If you're looking at a 4-hour chart, you're realizing that's on a push for another push higher. Why are we thinking that's going to be a reversal? So anyway, hopefully that's useful, helpful. Let's take a look at some stocks. We have NVIDIA earnings coming up on Tuesday. So let's do the same thing with this stock. We're in the 4-hour right now. Let's zoom out even more. I gotta go. Let's zoom out to the weekly chart and say, okay, we're almost at new highs. So, can we be bearish? Or can we be bullish? So let's say, okay, like this candle here, we were in the top half. That's bullish. This one, we started getting some indecision. So we pulled back. But then this red candle, what did they do? They just re-ripped all the way up. And they ended in the top half of this, so it was going to move higher. This candle here, they spent time in the bottom half, so they went lower. Let's just fast forward here. So now we're in these candles here. So from this move, we're in the top half of we're above the top half of this box. So depending on what Monday looks like, I think I'm going to grab calls. And we talked about in the last video, a Fibonacci retracement would put us up here around this 7,800 area, which isn't unlikely if you have zero liquidity. So just before you say, you know, this is a double top, zoom out and say, that's a huge box. And they're at the top, they're pushing the top of the box. That's how bullish this is. So look for NVIDIA calls. SPY can still go a little higher. Start looking for reversal on Bitcoin first, but then again, you know, if we just open above our numbers, then they might be off the board until they break down. But look for NVIDIA long. Tesla struggled last week. I kept saying, it's going to be a nice move, and it faked me out. And looking back at that now, you could use our principles that I just talked about, and you could say, well, idiot, if you look at the weekly chart, we had a large move down, and we spent time in the bottom half of the box, so we were going to go lower, right? And then same thing with this one. We had a large move down, and we spent time in the bottom of the box, so we're likely not going to rip to new highs. Because it's a green candle, it's possible that we continue to my 249 area, but let's look at the 4 hour real quick. Let's see. So, yeah, like this large move here. We not only, this might be a good false breakout for Tesla to play short, because, we came down and we didn't immediately snap back up. We spent time underneath the box. Now we're kind of doing a bullish thing, right? If you look at this big candle up, this big push up, now we're spending time in the top, but really that's after hours, so we really need to wait till Monday to see where we are. Are we in the top half of this box or the bottom? So I'll leave this box on here, and then we'll kind of say, okay, swinging into Tuesday, if we're spending a lot of time under this 230 area, then, probably going to have another push lower. So we'll see. Let's leave that on the chart. I got to go, but hopefully that was helpful. Thanks.